chair conformations for cyclohexanes. So you have axials. Axials can go straight up or down, and equatorials goes off the sides of the cyclohexane. So in order to draw a chair conformation, you do 2 diagonals, and then you put 2 other diagonals in the middle, and then you go in this direction. You have a down dash and then up, and in the middle of it you have a down dash, and then you have a slight up dash, and then at the top you have an up dash, and then you have a down dash that's slanted. And then on the other side you have a slanted up dash, and then you have a down dash on that one, and in the middle you have an up and then a slanted down dash, and then at the end you have a slanted up dash, and then you have a down dash. When you're drawing the most stable chair conformation, the most stable one has the biggest substituent in the equatorial position. This means that the biggest substituent is slanted. Okay? And the biggest substituent is always in the equatorial position no matter what. And the other substituent at the end doesn't really matter because it'll be like a methyl group. But it always has to be in the equatorial position. In order to convert a structure to a chair conformation, you have the cyclohexane. You always start at where the first substituent is, and then you count down in the cyclohexane. So if the first substituent is at the 1 on the cyclohexane, you count all the way down until you get to the next substituent. So whenever you're drawing it, if it's dashed, it always has to be axial. It's always coming out of the page. If it's dashed, if it's wedged, it's always coming out of the page, and it's the wedge. If it's dashed, it's always coming into the page. So dash means dash means it's pointing up. The substituent can be pointing up. If it's wedged, the substituent is pointing up. If it's dashed, the substituent is pointing down. And if it's pointing up, it can be axial or equatorial pointing up. If it's pointing down, which is the wedge, it can be equatorial or axial pointing down. But they just have to be the correct number of carbons away from each other whenever you're counting it on the cyclohexane. So just remember, dashed means down, equatorial or axial, and wedge means up, axial or equatorial. But preferably the bigger group needs to be equatorial, always. Okay? Always equatorial. So if you're comparing different ring sizes, the smaller the ring, the greater the strain. And there's a counterclockwise and there's a clockwise cyclohexane chair conformation. So the counterclockwise, you would just have to switch it. You just have to make it inverted. The inverted picture of a normal cyclohexane would be the clockwise. Okay, the normal one that you draw is the clockwise, but the inverted is the counterclockwise. And the only thing changing are the middle lines. The equatorials would be pointing to the left instead of to the right, and the bottom one would be pointing down to the right instead of to the left. So a normal chariot conformation, this is how the lines go. It would be up, axial, down, equatorial. Then it would be equatorial to the right, axial down. Then it would be axial up, equatorial down. And then on the other side, it would be equatorial up, axial down. The middle part would be axial up, equatorial to the left. And then it would be equatorial up and axial down. And then for this counterclockwise, you would have to flip the cyclohexane, and then you would have to do the reverse for the middle lines, the equatorials and axials. Trans means that they're pointing in different directions, or they can be 1-1 wedge. That's how trans works. One could be up, one could be down. And then for cis, both could either be pointing in the same direction. One could be equatorial up, one could be axial up, or it could be equatorial down, or it could be dash, pointing up. And if both substituents are the same, one has to be equatorial. But just remember to number your cyclohexane in a good way, and then number your drawing in that way as well.